As the tension in the room reaches a boiling point, two political heavyweights, Adam Schiff and Pam Bondi, face off in a clash that no one saw coming, each trading sharp accusations over Homan's alleged corruption, leaving the audience on the edge of their seats, questioning loyalties, motives, and the very integrity of those in power. Every word, every gesture feels loaded with explosive consequences, and as this confrontation unfolds, you'll witness a battle of wills that could redefine political alliances. Stay tuned, because what happens next is nothing short of shocking.
Madam Chair, Attorney General Bondi, at your confirmation hearing in January, made a clear commitment you would not politicize your position. We are here today at your first oversight hearing 9 months into your tenure, at a time when hundreds of career prosecutors have quit because they were required to take unethical actions at odds with that promise, or feared that they would have to take such actions if they remained on the job. When over 1,000 former federal prosecutors have sounded the alarm about the unprecedented degree to which the powers of DOJ are being abused to go after the president's enemies. I approach this hearing with a heavy heart. As a former federal prosecutor myself, I served in a department that, whether it was under a Democratic or Republican president, would never use the office to go after the president's enemies or to hide the corruption of his friends. But today, the Justice Department has been used to cover up the possible corruption of the mayor of New York, or of a high-level administration official taking $50,000 reportedly in cash in a bag, or a child sex predator who befriended the president and some of his cabinet members. And instead of preventing partisan weaponization, your department has engaged in a brazenly political prosecution at the president's explicit direction. The department has become President Trump's personal sword and shield to go after his ever-growing list of political enemies and to protect himself, his allies, and associates. My questions therefore focus on these two themes: hiding the corrupt acts of his friends and prioritizing the political prosecution of his enemies. So let me start with the shocking allegations of bribery and pay to play. 2 weeks ago, 4 major media outlets reported that Tom Homan, the president's top deportation official working in the White House, took $50,000 in cash in a bag from undercover FBI agents in September 2024, just over a year ago. According to these reports, Homan indicated he would facilitate securing contracts in exchange for money once he was in office in a future Trump administration. Reportedly, this exchange was caught on tape. Rather than pursue this investigation without fear or favor, the department and the FBI under your leadership or that of your predecessor before you confirmed quietly shut it down. Once news broke, your deputy and FBI director issued a joint public statement confirming that the Trump administration closed the investigation. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt denied Homan took the $50,000, telling a reporter, quote, "Mr. Homan never took the $50,000 that you're referring to, so you should get your facts straight." So today, I hope you can help us get our facts straight. Was that true, what the White House press secretary said when she denied Homan took the money? Did he take the money?
Senator Schiff, as I stated earlier, I was not in office. I was not confirmed when that was handled.
So does that mean
Deputy Attorney General Blanche and Director Patel said that there was no evidence that Tom Homan committed a crime. Yet now you're putting his picture up to slander him.
No, I'm putting his picture up showing an interview he gave with, I think, Fox, in which he was asked explicitly about these allegations that he took a $50,000 bribe, and he refused to answer. He said he didn't answer the question whether he took the money, so I'm asking you the question. Did he take the money?
Senator Schiff, I answered that question multiple times. And frankly, you know.
Well, I don't think, with respect, I don't think you did. But in case I just didn't hear you, what is the answer? Did he take the money?
Senator Schiff, that happened prior to my confirmation as Attorney General.
Do you know,
I said that.
Do you know, sitting here, whether he took the money?
All I know is that Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche and FBI Director Patel said there was no case. And Caroline Leavitt is one of the most trustworthy human beings I know.
So
And,
was she?
Senator Schiff,
Was she
if
right?
you worked for me, you would have been fired because you were censured
No,
by Congress for lying with your
we can
egregious
stipulate to, you can stipulate to all your personal attacks on the Democratic members of the committee.
personal attacks. You've been attacking my FBI director. You've been attacking my office. You've been attacking.
What we're interested in.
Borders are.
What we're interested in is the answer to these oversight questions.
You want your
You were asked by my colleague. You were asked by my colleague.
Attacking good people.
Regular order, Madam Chair, so I can ask a question. You were asked by my colleague from Vermont whether you will support providing a video or audio tape, if it exists, of Mr. Holman taking $50,000 in bribe money from the FBI. Will you support a request by this committee to provide that tape or tapes to the committee? Yes or no?
Senator Schiff, you can talk to Director Patel about that.
Well, I'm talking to you about it. You're the Attorney General. This will be your decision. Will you support?
You don't have to tell me what is my decision and what is not my decision. I said you can talk to Director Patel.
You don't have to try to.
You think you've got a gotcha with Tom Homan, our borders are.
Excuse me.
Who's been out there fighting for our country since Donald Trump took office.
I'm trying to ask you a question. Regular order, please. And you don't have to defer to the FBI director to pass the buck. So I'm asking you, will you support a request so that the committee, or indeed I believe the American people, should be able to see that video or audio tape? Will you support that request?
Will you apologize to Donald Trump for trying to impeach him?
I guess the answer is you won't support that request.
After you now know that Joe Biden tried to cover up Hunter Biden's involvement with Ukraine.
Excuse me. Let me do this because I think it's valuable that the American people get a sense of what you've refused to answer today. So these are just some of the questions you refused to answer, or have answered with personal attacks on members of this committee. You were asked whether you consulted with career ethics lawyers, as you promised you would do during your nomination hearing, when you approved the president receiving a $400 million gift from the Qataris. You refused to answer that question. You were asked who or what role you may have played, or who played the role in asking that Trump's name be flagged in any of the Epstein documents gathered by the FBI. You refused to answer that question. You were asked whether Holman kept the $50,000 bribe money. You refused to answer that question. You were asked whether Holman paid taxes on the $50,000 bribe money. You refused to answer that question. You were asked, did career prosecutors find insufficient evidence to charge James Comey? You refused to answer that question. You were asked, how are military strikes on these boats in the Caribbean legal? And you refused to even answer that question.
You were asked, a law degree,
excuse me. You were asked, did you discuss indicting James Comey with the president? You refused to answer that question. You were asked, did you approve the firing of antitrust lawyers who disagreed with the Hewlett-Packard merger? You refused to answer that question. You were asked whether you support a restoration fund for violent insurrections to attack the Capitol on January 6th. You refused to answer that question. You were asked whether you were firing career professionals, career prosecutors, just because they worked on January 6th investigations. You refused to answer that question. You were asked by my California colleague whether you believe government officials, like immigration officials, have to abide by court orders. You wouldn't even answer that question. This is supposed to be an oversight hearing.
Oversight?
Excuse me, you can attack me after my time is over.
You've attacked all of us, including President Trump, for your entire career.
You can attack me later, and I know you've got plenty of canned attacks. We've heard them all day to day.
Canned attacks on you?
This is supposed to be...
No one needs a canned attack on you.
Regular order, Madam Chair. I'm trying to speak. This is supposed to be an oversight hearing of the Justice Department. And it comes in the wake of an indictment called for by the president of one of his enemies. This is supposed to be an oversight hearing, and it comes in the wake of revelations that a top administration official took $50,000 in a bag.
From the very first second, the tension in the room was electric as Adam Schiff locked eyes with Pam Bondi, the kind of look that could slice through the thickest layer of political pretense. Schiff's voice, calm yet sharp, immediately cut to the heart of the matter, challenging Homan's alleged corruption with an intensity that left no room for evasion. Bondi's reaction was instantaneous. Her posture stiffened, her hands gripping the edge of the table, every muscle alert and ready to defend not just her position but her reputation. The room seemed to shrink around them, as if every other person in the hearing was merely background to the duel unfolding at the center, and even the slightest twitch or flicker of expression carried weighty implications, making it impossible for any observer to look away. As the exchange intensified, Schiff dissected every word, every action, and every alleged misstep with a surgical precision that only years in politics could cultivate. His questions were more than inquiries. They were probes into the very essence of accountability, digging beneath the surface of official statements to reveal inconsistencies, hidden agendas, and potential breaches of trust. Bondi countered with equal skill, her responses measured but firm, carrying the unmistakable weight of experience and an acute awareness of public perception. Each rebuttal she offered was layered, signaling not just defense but a calculated demonstration of knowledge, strategic thinking, and mastery over the optics of power. The middle of the hearing turned into a delicate dance of tension and tactics as every participant, committee members, aides, and observers reacted in real time to the verbal sparring. Micro-expressions became a language of their own. An arched eyebrow, a sharp intake of breath, a fleeting smirk. Each gesture hinted at alliances, rivalries, and unspoken judgments, revealing the intricate web of influence and strategy that governs high-level politics. For those paying attention, it was as if the layers of public facade were peeling back, exposing not only the stakes of the hearing, but also the human instincts that drive decisions, arguments, and confrontations in real time. Schiff's analytical approach highlighted a key tension: principle versus pragmatism. His insistence on accountability, transparency, and ethical clarity often collided with Bondi's careful balancing of legality, loyalty, and strategic communication. This was not merely a clash of personalities, but a collision of worldviews and methodologies, a reminder that politics is rarely black and white and that every move carries consequences far beyond the immediate moment. Watching the two navigate this terrain offered audiences a rare glimpse into the subtle calculations, instinctive responses, and risk assessments that operate behind the formalities of hearings and official statements. Every accusation and rebuttal escalated the stakes, revealing deeper truths about the dynamics of power, trust, and credibility. Schiff's persistent questioning forced Bondi to confront not only the specifics of Homan's alleged misconduct, but also broader implications for institutional integrity and public trust. Bondi's steadfast defense illustrated how experience, intuition, and a keen sense of timing are wielded as tools in high-pressure scenarios, turning each argument into both a shield and a spotlight. Observing this interplay was like witnessing a high-stakes chess match unfold in real time, where every phrase and pause had layers of meaning that the public rarely sees, but that insiders understand with crystal clarity. As the hearing progressed, the tension became almost cinematic, each exchange revealing not just facts, but character. Schiff's methodical scrutiny exposed the vulnerability of those caught in the crosshairs of public accountability, while Bondi's poise under fire revealed resilience, strategic thinking, and the instinctive understanding of when to push, when to hold, and when to pivot. The audience watching, whether in the room or on screen, was drawn into a story that combined high stakes, moral complexity, and the human element, transforming a legal and political confrontation into a gripping narrative filled with suspense and consequence. In the final moments, as the verbal volleys slowed and the echoes of pointed questions lingered, it became clear that this was more than a hearing, it was a revelation. The clash between Schiff and Bondi offered a rare, unfiltered look at how accountability, strategy, and personality intersect at the highest levels of government. For viewers, it was an invitation to think critically, to question narratives, and to reflect on the nuanced balance between principle and power. The story did not end with a simple resolution. Instead, it left audiences with lingering questions about integrity, influence, and the true cost of leadership, compelling them to engage, discuss, and share their perspectives. Ultimately, what unfolded was a masterclass in high-stakes confrontation, a cinematic display of human instinct, intellect, and strategy and a reminder that behind every headline lies a complex interplay of personalities, ambitions, and moral choices. Schiff and Bondi's clash was a microcosm of broader political dynamics, illustrating how every decision, every word, and every reaction shapes perception, history, and trust. For those willing to look closely, it was not just news, it was insight, a lesson in power, and a story that challenges viewers to understand the human side of politics while staying engaged in the narratives that define our world